Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. So it looks like we got a good game here. 7-7. Looks like Christian McCaffrey got knocked out. I've been playing these, what do you call them? One fantasy team out of one game tournaments by DraftKings. And something told me not to take him in every lineup, so I put Chuba Hubbard in there. That's a little tip for you guys on your daily fantasy. If you take if you're playing a cap league per se, when you got a really high player, he's high because he's good, he's very productive, like a Christian McCaffrey. You always want to take his backup in a few lineups there to set up your team. Everybody, looks like it's tied there. I don't know. I know we're getting close to halftime. I will give you guys a heads up now. If the game goes to halftime early on Thursday, like it did now, it's very fast paced. I had the under, and I've got Carolina to win this game. It's going to be a dogfight, but I will say this. I will go to start Sports Scope as soon as we're getting close to halftime. So always check your notifications if you want to watch the show live, anywhere from 8:30 Central Time to 9 o'clock p.m., okay? If the earlier I can do the show, the better, okay? So anyways, got a lot to talk about today, okay? 7-6, okay, gotcha. They must have missed the extra point there. Boy, I tell you, Houston can't get out of their own way. Can't even hit the extra point right. So anyways, got a lot of big games on this weekend. We've got some injuries to deal with around the league. A lot of sense of urgency coming out of teams like Minnesota, Indianapolis. Those teams expected to make the playoffs. And I had actually had Minnesota to win in their game, win in their division. And that looks like that's in the bad shape there. But first, I wanted to talk about the game of the week, and that is Tampa Bay and LA. That is the Bucks and the Rams. First of all, I said in the preseason that I think back in August that I thought that this Rams team would beat Tampa, and apparently, Pickles, Vegas agrees with me. Vegas agrees with me. The Rams are currently favored in this game. This is probably going to be the only game that they're going to be underdogs in, them being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I watched a lot of both of the Ram games, a lot of it, because I was heavily involved in their fantasy games and everything. To the Rams, to defend this Ram team, they beat two playoff teams from last year. Okay, remember the Bears. The Bears made the playoffs last year as a wild card, and the Colts, they also made the wild card game as well. But I will say this. You look at a guy like Matthew Stafford, former number 1 overall pick, been on a bad team since 2009 until last year. He's 33 years old. I want to say he was been in two different playoffs, 2 different years, both losing there in the playoffs. I don't think he's ever won a playoff game. Now he has a full deck of cards. Now he has the 8th ranked defense in the league. Now he has the, I want to say, 5th highest scoring offense in the league. And of course, Tom Brady is, they are 23rd in defense, Tampa, and first in scoring offense. Brady was a 6th round pick, and today is the anniversary of Tom Brady taking over 20 years ago today. Where were you at 20 years ago today? It was the anniversary of Drew Bledsoe getting knocked out of the game and Tom Brady taking over, and the rest is history. The guy becomes the greatest quarterback of all time, a 6th round pick. Then on the other side, you have a first pick overall going to a dumpster fire. And never really having a rough career there, very bluesy career there in Detroit. His wife got cancer while he was in playing for the Lions. Matthew Stafford and Brady, of course, a guy who was a backup for not highly touted out of high school, like a Matthew Stafford. Went to Michigan, but was a backup for 3 years. Stafford was considered a number one pick overall for a long time with Georgia, an SEC school. So it's interesting. And of course, you've got 11 years difference in age. Brady, 44 years old, 33-year-old Matthew Stafford. But my point is, now Matt's got a full deck of cards. Like I said, number 8 overall defense, and they look every bit as good as the 8th overall. Very good run defense there. Pass rush over the middle. Got Ramsey. I predicted this. Because I said that this team would be look like world beaters the first month of the season. But they're top heavy. They don't have a lot of depth. Talk to me in December when injuries that happen to everybody come and compile on this Ram team. But again, I do think that the Rams should be favored. I think they'll win it. It's a coin toss game. Tampa's got to make some adjustments on defense. I think they're probably doing a little too much blitzing, not running enough stunts. I'm certain that Todd Bowles, this team will address it. I'm probably thinking 27-24, something like that. Rams. Last second field goal could go the other way, but I'm going to lean Rams because I picked it in the preseason, and I was just glad that the Vegas actually made them the favorites. It makes me look like a genius, just doing a lot of educated guesses. Speaking of quarterbacks, Justin Fields, we had his first start in Chicago. You know what? If I'm Matt Nagy, if I'm a fan of the Bears, and a couple of Bears fans do tune in from time to time, Lexus Lopez, my friend from work from way back when, still living in the Chicagoland area, I'm telling Fields, look over there in California today. Okay, look at the other schedule. Who's going to be playing? Tom Brady's 44 years old for a reason and still playing in this league. Because he takes what the defense gives him. He knows how to drop that ball down. I don't have to tell you, this is what we're talking about in the quarterback's room this week. You got to get that ball short. If the home run's not there, take what they give you. We've got David Montgomery for a reason. We need you to check that ball down to David Montgomery. You're going against the Cleveland Browns. Very good pass rush. Not as good as I thought they would be. They've got 7 new starters. I think they'll get better as the season goes along, folks. But I'll say this. That's what I'm telling Justin Fields this week. Keep an eye on your protections and take what they give you. Get rid of the football. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Run out of bounds, okay? We got you for your athleticism, but we also want you to get the ball down the field and throw to the open man, okay? I like them in this game, but I'm just saying that's something that a lot of these young quarterbacks, Pickles, with big arms, they want to make the home run throw, you know? And a lot of people were criticizing Josh Allen because his stats are not what they were of last year. Well, I'm actually like what Josh Allen's doing right now. He's checking into run plays. He's throwing the screen passes there, okay? So that's what I'm telling. If I'm a Miami fan, folks, that's exactly what I am. That's what I am preaching, okay? Alrighty then. Okay, now Miami will be playing at Vegas. Miami played. Greg Zuerlein is actually the kicker now for the Cowboys. Pickles. Tua's out. He's officially ruled out. Now, Jacoby Brissett will be playing. Remember, Miami played the Raiders last year at at Vegas. And this is another game where Tua was taken out of the game. We don't know if it was injury or not. I think it was probably because of play. Either way, Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in the game. Miami wins like 26-25. Very close game. Now, you've got Jacoby Brissett. There was an injury concern of an ankle issue, I want to say, with Derek Carr. Sore ankle, but he practiced full yesterday and he practiced full today. So I do like kudos to so far, kudos to the management for the Raiders. They have gotten better on their pass rush. Okay. I don't have a lot of faith in Jacoby Brissett. If I'm Ryan Flores and I'm the general manager, Chris Grier, I would have done everything in my power to keep a Ryan Fitzpatrick or go after a much better backup quarterback. Probably a Teddy Bridgewater, but of course, Denver was hollering for Teddy Bridgewater. You know, they made a mistake. They know behind closed doors that they made a mistake with Tua and not getting him a good backup. The Brissett, I understand the relationship with Flores. The Patriots drafted Brissett, Jacoby Brissett. So Flores knows him from the Patriot days. Knows he's a hard worker and everything, but the guy holds on to the ball too long. It takes way, I don't know. Well, actually, I think the Patriots traded for him. Whatever. But now he's a Miami Dolphin, and he's going to be starting. I will say this. If something happens to Derek Carr, and for whatever reason, they put Nathan Peterman in there, and that's what I was reading, then you got to take Miami. Then you got to go with Miami. I don't think that happens. I do think that Carr is going to play, and I think it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be really tough, close. Miami's really well coached. They just got the quarterback wrong there, but I do think the Raiders are going to go 3-0. I'm looking for them to lay an egg. I don't think it's going to be this week, but it's hard to get up and play teams like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, now Miami. As you can see, while a lot of people looked at them and said, man, these guys are going to be 0-3. But that's not the case. But they started off like a house of fire in the past. Quite frankly, the last 2 years, 2-0. And I read you the stats the other day, folks, of what they do down the stretch. They kind of wear themselves down. The defense the defensive wasn't there, and they could not win these shootouts. And of course, they faded down the stretch, only finishing out at around 500. That might not be the case this year, but again, that's another team that I think that's going to hold back a team like Baltimore, who's struggling. Now they're saying that Lamar Jackson's got an air quote illness. I say it in air quotes because the other day there were reports that he was sore from doing that backflip where he hit in the end zone and he hurt his shoulder or something of that nature. So I'm not sure what to believe. It's a non-COVID type of thing. They got to play at Detroit. Don't be surprised if he's out in a late scratch in that game and Detroit upsets them. That would be horrendous. But they're saying it's a stomach bug. We'll see come Saturday. I mean, of course, I'm going to take Baltimore to beat Detroit. They're already shopping Jamie Collins. They're already sellers pickles in the trade deadline. It's not even October yet. The Detroit Lions. Other big games to talk about here. Okay, Dallas, Philadelphia. Notice all the Eagles hype calmed down for a week. They lost one of their defensive linemen on IR. I want to say Brandon Graham. And they lost an offensive lineman on IR. And, Dallas, big win over the Chargers. Greg Zuerlein hit the 56-yarder to beat the Chargers. Okay, these guys will be playing on Monday night. And by the way, kudos to the 49ers. They didn't allow a sack by that Philadelphia defensive line against Jimmy Garoppolo. Looking at the stat line the other day. Some people are calling for Philadelphia to get the upset here, saying Dallas may be a little flat. I'm not one of those people. I think Dallas, if you can hold back Joey Bosa and Derwin James, I think you're going to be okay with this defense because you're much more familiar with it. I think Dallas has an influx of players here on offense, much improved defense here. Now they've got Micah Parsons lining up as an edge rusher. You got Tony Pollard now outpacing Ezekiel Elliott at running back. But, you know, Dallas is home. They're favored. I like them to go ahead and win this game, folks. Okay? Going right ahead to the teams that are most popular to the least popular, right? Okay, big game. Okay, now Seattle, Minnesota's huge, Pickles. I mean, this one's huge. Seattle is coming off of an overtime loss. I mean, up 15 points, home opener. Again, talked about this the other day. The Seahawks have never lost under Pete Carroll an opening home game. And I double-checked that, and they haven't lost anything with Wilson as well at home. Now, I'll say this. I was almost for certain that there's a possibility that Dalvin Cook might not play. He didn't practice today. He's a little banged up. But Matson had a great game against them last time. Meaning last year. They played, I want to say Monday night. It was one of those primetime games. They went up to Seattle, played last year, and lost by a point. It was a very close game. Matson had like over 100 yards in that particular game. Okay? But my only concern is when you have a kicker like this guy, Joseph is his name, I want to say. For Minnesota, this guy kicks a 52-yarder in the middle of the game, makes it. Minnesota takes the lead. Then later on, last-second field goal to win it inside 40 yards. It's like 35 yards, a chip shot. He misses that. They go 0-2 to Arizona. So now this team is their home opener. They should be 3-0. They should be 2-0. I mean, they should have beat Cincinnati, but their defense is not what I thought it was. Maybe it's a situation kind of like with Cleveland folks, where they have it's too many new players and they're still trying to tinker with the scheme. Either way, this is a must-win game. I think Minnesota pulls this game off at home, even without Dalvin Cook. But when you got a guy like Kirk Cousins, and then on the other side you got a guy like Russell Wilson, if this is a tied game going into the fourth quarter, who are you going to take? You're going to take a guy like Russell Wilson, or are you going to take a guy like a Kirk Cousins? Again, I like Minnesota at home. It's the home opener. They pushed these guys to the wire, and of course Seattle just did beat them last year. But if this team goes 0-3, they are reeling like nobody's business. This defense has got two great upgrades at corners, but they're supposed to have guys like Anthony Barr back. He got hurt again. It's a home opener. They know Matson's a good running back as well. It just can this kicker make the plays? Because it's going to come down to the small plays at the 3-point edge for Seattle. But, you got both teams coming off a loss. Both of them last-second field goals. Could you say Seattle's a little bit more banged up because they went overtime with a Tennessee? All that is into consideration. But if you look the way last year's game played out, both of the teams were pretty well evenly matched. I think Minnesota gets the win. Again, I still think there's a snowman's chance of Minnesota winning this division. I still think that because I think that's a good transition. Green Bay is going to play at San Francisco. Now, they beat San Francisco at San Francisco last year, folks, but that's fool's gold, okay? Green Bay plays at San Francisco. Now you've got a fully healthy San Francisco team that's healthy in the trenches, okay? They got Alex Mack at center, Trent Williams. Now you got Jimmy Garoppolo instead of Mullins or whoever that other guy was that was backing up there. A fully healthy team. They are favored, and I do think this Frisco team will win this game. I think they're going to line up. Green Bay play Monday night. Now they got to go across the country and play at San Francisco. I don't care if they've got the fourth string running back. They've got the blocking scheme to do it. I like this, and I don't think that, by the way, Zadarius Smith from the Green Bay Packers, he's on IR. You know, if Detroit can move the ball like that, I think this Frisco team, they're going to get 150 to 200 something yards from a combination of running backs, whether it be the Hasley guy or whoever they find in off the street. And I do think that you got Joey Bosa going against a David Bakhtiari's backup. And then, of course, they've got a new center there to replace Corey Lindsey. I like San Francisco to win that game and put Green Bay at 1-2. And I do think that Minnesota's going to win, so they're going to be right there, 1-2. Now, Green Bay will have the edge because they have the divisional win. But I do think that they are going to be cooking with gas. Okay. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Did I call it last week or did I call it last week? I said I just have this bad feeling that Pittsburgh, they go up to beat Buffalo. They beat Buffalo, but Mike Tomlin has a tendency to play down to his competition, playing a Vegas team that played the previous Monday night, early start time. Last game they played last year off of a late Monday night game, and the early start time was Pickles was at New England. And of course, they got ran on like nobody's business. The game was never close. Of course, that didn't happen last week. We saw what happened. The team looked sluggish. Pittsburgh still struggling to actually run the football. I do like the fact that they are getting Najee Harris the ball in the flat. You've got a pectoral issue with Ben Roethlisberger there. I'm concerned about that. Roethlisberger has a tendency, guys, to want to play when he is told. I think he's like 40-50%. He's not practiced at all. Tomlin will have a backup plan. They'll put in Mason Rudolph. But if you start to, and then you got TJ Watt with the groin injury, Brian, you got a lot of stuff going against this team right now. And you saw that Henry Ruggs beat their cornerbacks deep and got that touchdown. Well, now you've got guys like Jamar Chase there from the Cincinnati Bengals that can do that same type of route with Joe Burrow. Remember, this team beat Pittsburgh at Cincinnati last year. All that being said, I've also known Mike Tomlin to pick his team up and play over their head when he feels like their back's against the wall, and go 8-8 with guys like Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph playing the majority of the season. So this is a coin flip game, but I'm going to go out on the limb. I'm going to take the underdog. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to beat them up in Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be a close game, little bit of a, I don't know, it's going to be a tight game, maybe a boring game, maybe one to take the under if you were betting, folks. Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me change out my time here. I'm trying to get this thing done for halftime. I've got okay, here we'll stop recording and we're back now. Okay. Now, Tennessee. Okay, so I'm out of Nashville. A lot of teams are writing off the Tennessee Titans after week 1. I don't think I was being over the top, hyperbolic, whatever you want to call it, when I said that if Tennessee goes up there and gets blown out by Seattle, they need to change coordinators immediately. The Mac and Jack guys called me crazy, but I did say I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to play well, maybe even upset Seattle. That's what they did, okay? Now you've got a situation where if you're the Titans, you're 1-1. You're playing a Colts team that is very likely, from what I read, that Carson Wentz is not even going to play in this game, that they're going to possibly have a 2-quarterback system with Brett Hundley. You remember that name, Brian, because he used to play with the Green Bay Packers, kind of bounced around. Now he's with the Colts. And Jacob Eason, second-year player out of Washington. He was originally a Georgia Bulldog. So, and there's a possibility, guys, that Darius Leonard, their best linebacker, not play. All that being said, last year, Tennessee, a very healthy Tennessee, at home on a Thursday night game late in the season with a healthy Derrick Henry, got demolished by the Colts. So if you're the Titans and you lose this game, which you should, everything is on your side to win. You are not serious about winning. You can't go up to Seattle and beat them in overtime with a Herculean effort and then blow a game against a second and third string quarterback with injuries on defense at home like that. I don't think it's going to happen, because I did hear that Derrick Henry, very vocal guy. He got vocal this past week before the Seattle game, and he's not a vocal guy. So I do think that Tennessee will win this game. And like I predicted, Nostradamus over here, Brian, I think that they're going to win this division. Everybody, national media guys, and their brothers all picked the Indianapolis Colts to win the division. Same people that picked the Colts to win the division last year. And a lot of those guys mocked me, guys like me on my small platform last year, about picking the Bucs to go all the way to the Super Bowl. Well, we know what happened there in the preseason. But I'll tell you this. I think Tennessee wins. I think they take that 2-1 lead. I think the Colts are reeling. And now I think the Colts, after this, they're going to have to go on the road and play Baltimore. Then they got to play Miami. They're going to be struggling to get a win against anybody, because I think Miami's going to lose, and Miami's going to be hungry, and Baltimore may get upset, and they may be hungry. And Carson Wentz is a little reckless. Colin Cowherd said something about that the other day, and I would have to agree. If I'm Chris Ballard, do you make that move? Yes. Yes, you do. What do you think they're going? I think the possibility that they could move on for him this year. It's only a $15 million cap hit if they move on after the season. If they wait to 2022, which they could, and maybe draft another quarterback, it's zero cap hit. They lose a second round pick or a late first round pick. The world hasn't come to an end. No autopsy, no foul. The guy was an MVP candidate at one time. This is a guy that used to coach him at Philadelphia. So all that's coming to fruition. I can understand the school of thought behind the Carson Wentz trade, okay? So other games. Okay, by the way, Chicago plays Cleveland. And I picked Cleveland to go to the Super Bowl. Cleveland needs to, and I hope nothing happens to Fields. I like Justin Fields a whole lot. But Cleveland needs to blow these guys out, okay? Even with their injuries, they're going to have Odell Beckham back. I know that Landry is out there for 3 weeks. He's on some kind of 3-week IR or whatever. But Odell Beckham will be back. This team, even with their injuries, all their depth, they really, really need to show the league that they are for real this year. They do want to make that second step. They really need to blow out Chicago. I think they're going to win. They'll probably cover. But if you're coaching that Cleveland Brown team, if you're a defensive line coach, linebacker coach, defensive back coach, even the head coach, you guys got to say, listen, we are way better than this, okay? We are better than this. We got to show this team what time it is. This team has one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. We can't mess around here. We're here to win this. I think that Baltimore's got way too many injuries. They're going to fall apart. We're already seeing the Steelers fall apart before our eyes. Cleveland Browns, you got to step up and take what your window is very short in this league, guys. It's very short in this league. And Chicago, if you have something to hang on to, if you're a Chicago fan, they've got 2 really good linebackers. They're a little weak in the secondary. They lost Fuller, who went over to Denver, who's playing great, And let me see who else. See if I missed anybody. Miami, Vegas, Jets. I like Denver to win and cover, of course. Atlanta at the Giants. Now, if Atlanta goes up and beats the Giants, guys, I think the Giants are going to win. Don't get me wrong. It's a 3-point game. It could go either way. But if Atlanta goes up there and beat the Giants, I know Giants have some injuries. They put another offensive lineman on IR. People are going to be calling for Joe Judge. They're going to be calling for Daniel Jones to get benched. They're going to be calling for Dave Gettleman. You're going to see a lot. WFAN, one of the biggest local sports talk shows in America. I would love to hear what they have to say if Atlanta, with their horrific defense, goes up there and beats the Giants in East Rutherford. Man, I don't want, if I'm Joe Judge and that, I'm just not even listening. But that is a storyline, guys, to keep up with. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm just saying, I do think that I think that's something that we should monitor, okay? So if you guys like the show, share the show. Thursdays can be a little bit short because I want to get back and watch the rest of the second half. Yeah, Barkley. People saying Barkley's this big-time player. I would have never drafted a running back with a 2-pick overall. Hopefully he'll be back this week and get a chance to play. He didn't do much against Washington. I do like Buffalo to knock out Washington, by the way. And I like the path that Josh Allen is on, even though statistically he's not having his best year. Okay? And a little college ball. I think Wisconsin knocks out Notre Dame at home. But I tell you what, if Wisconsin loses this game, they were just a total disappointment. And they were a total disappointment. And I'm never going to listen to Phil Steele on those surprise teams again, because he's saying Wisconsin and Washington was number 1 surprise team. They both got losses. I do like his magazine and the amount of information, but he missed it this year, man. I mean, Washington's already got beat by Michigan, and Wisconsin blew that game at the Penn State. So Penn State, a lot of people got them at 4th seed, ranked 4th. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, Penn State's got a very bad schedule. That being said, I was reading that Stroud is injured for Ohio State, and their defense looks awful. So Penn State may run the table in the Big Ten, but I think they got to play Iowa at some point. Well, I'll keep it. I'll keep monitors on that, okay? I'll keep that up. Anyways, guys, if you like the show, share the show. If you want to contribute to the program, go to the ZELLE app. The email is the word sports and then another S, KOPE@gmail.com if you want to contribute to the program. This takes a lot of time, money, and effort. Have a good week, everybody. I will see you Tuesday. I'll give you my thoughts on what happened and why it happened here on Sports Scope. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the second half of the game. I'm sure it's pretty interesting, especially if you're betting like myself. I had the under, and I had Carolina winning this game, and it looks like I'm okay on the under right now, but we'll see about Carolina winning. Have a good night, everybody. See you Tuesday.